All
Hi,
right.
everybody. This is Chef Moss, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Leadership 101. Today, my special guest is Lou Brown. Lou and I have about a 15-year history. And when you say the word leadership, you can't say it without the name Lou Brown in there. So, Lou, welcome to the program. It's good to have you here.
Jeff, it is so humbling to see you and an honor to be here and a pleasure. Again, thank you for inviting me on this. And I just look forward to, just talking with you and sharing some stories. And, let's just have some fun today.
That sounds good. So, Lou came into my life, as I said, about 15 years ago. And I was a district manager at Pfizer at the time. And we were going through an annual challenge of downsizing, territory shifts. And I got a call from a gentleman up in the Northeast that told me about Lou and said, hey, he's marrying a young lady from Warner Robins, Georgia. You've got an opening there. Will you take him? And I knew this guy so well, and he spoke so highly of you. I didn't even do an interview. It was more of a meet and greet and, hey, Lou, come on down. And then you brought people with you, man. So tell everybody a little bit about Lou Brown, your life, where you came from, how you got to where you are. I think that's a great place to start.
Well, Jeff, I will tell you, you were a life changer for me. And I have to first say, before I say anything, I want to say thank you. Because with that moment, with that trust that you put in your colleague to take me really sight unseen and the way you did it, it was really no pressure for me, but just to show up and show out, and hopefully live up to some of those things. But again, the trust and the opportunity that you gave me is something that I think will stay with me forever. And that's something that as a leader now, I try to help change people's lives and for the better. And at that time, like you said, I was with Pfizer. We had been there. I had just been with Pfizer for a few years and was in the Northeast, but again, wanted to chase my high school sweetheart down where she had relocated to Macon, Georgia at the time. A position became available at Warner Robins. I got a call on a Friday saying, got some good news and I got some great news. Okay, what's the good news? The good news, there's a position available in Warner Robins. I'm like, where the heck is that? They were like, it's somewhere near Macon, Georgia, where right now my wife, Renee, where she was living at the time. And I said, okay, what's the great news? And the great news was there's a position available and you're hired if you want to take the job. And I said, okay, well, when do I need to go there? And my manager at the time said, well, this Jeff Moss, he needs you down there on Tuesday for a meeting. So that Friday afternoon, I jumped in the car. I was living in Connecticut at the time and drove to Newark, New Jersey, where my cousin lived. I went to the ATM, made a big withdrawal, and went to the Diamond District. Picked out a diamond ring that I was going to propose to my wife. Packed a suitcase, got the ring set that weekend, and was on a plane on Monday. Went to the meeting on Tuesday, and then proposed to my wife, who's still my wife now, over 15 years later. So that's kind of me in a personal. Now we have two little girls. One just turned 8 yesterday, named Campbell, and we have an older daughter named Avery. That's 12. But that moment was a game changer for me because again, as people try to climb the ladder, they want to make sure the ladder is against the right wall. And you gave me that chance to set up a strong personal foundation so I could thrive professionally.
Well, it was a win-win, Lou. I mean, it changed my life too, because you introduced me to things. I know this sounds like the Mutual Admiration Society, but it truly is. Lou has been like a son to me. And when I met him, my life changed as well. And part of it was because of your childhood story. Can you share with everybody as much as you care to about where you came from, your beginnings, and your family situation, how you got to the point you were in life that you were so motivated you went to college on a full ride athletic scholarship?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we have to always let people know that it's not where you are or where you currently are, your current circumstances that will predict your future, but it's what you do with those circumstances. And like myself, like many other millions and millions of other children out here in America and all around the world, my parents happen to be divorced. And with that divorce came, several challenges growing up. We didn't have a lot of income. To be honest, at sometimes we were just poor. I mean, we didn't have a lot of luxury. We didn't have a lot of extra spending. And there was at times, even when my mother was sick, where, she lost her job. We lost a lot of different things from our home to our car to, it just seemed like a real challenging situation, which it was. But at the end of the day, when you have faith, love, and hope, when you have what I call my mom, the epitome of hard work and never giving up, the example of how to lead through trials and tribulation and how to serve and put others' needs before you, I would not change a thing, Jeff. I would not change a single thing. I think, as we walk through life, there's a lot of fire. And again, you can be burned and consumed by it, or you can be refined by it. And I truly think about those moments as preparation for future opportunities. And it makes me so grateful for what we have today, what we're able to do. And, I look at my job as a get to job. I'm fortunate enough right now to be a senior sales director for a company that I really care a lot about. It's called Coloplast, where we're an implantable device company. And I get the opportunity to serve a lot of people in a lot of different roles and help change their life. And we all have a beginning, you know, we all have a story, right? And they've all come from somewhere and they've all faced something. And I think as a leader, you have to realize you're leading three type of people. You're leading people who are in a storm, you're leading people who have been through a storm, and you're leading people that are about to go into a storm. So the fact that I've been in the storm, I've learned how to dance in the rain. I know that, I can speak some encouraging words, not just out of a book, but out of real life. And I think that has helped shape me as a person, as a professional, as a father, and more importantly, as a leader, and how I serve others, and how, it's not just for power, prestige, or position, but it's to hopefully make a difference in their lives. And I think from those humble beginnings, it really has shaped me to, really be grateful for these get to jobs that we get to do. We get to lead and serve, and we get to do what we do and help people with our skills and our talents.
So you've had, through your experiences from Pfizer and moving forward, I will tell the audience one of the most pleasurable recommendations I ever got was when you called me and said, "Hey, you're going to get a call from somebody from Coloplast. Will you give me a recommendation?" And I did. And essentially, I kind of see you laughing already because you know what's coming. I was on the phone with the guy, and he had a history at Pfizer. We never knew each other, but he essentially wanted to know about you. And of course, I gave you a raving accolades. But I said, let me give you something right now. And I gave him my home address. And he goes, "Well, why do I need that?" And I said, "Well, let me tell you, if Lou lets you down or disappoints or doesn't do all the things I've said about him, drive to my house. I'll put my hands behind my back and let you punch me right in the face." And he said, "I've never had anybody recommend anybody like that." And I said, "Well, you don't know Lou Brown. After he works for you for a while, you're going to find out." So the funny story, I will tell the rest of it. I mean, you became the number one sales guy 2 years running. And I'll never forget that same manager called me up and said, "Hey, man, you weren't kidding about Lou Brown. Who else do you know?" And the next thing, a guy named Warren Williams came up. And, what's Warren doing for you now?
Well, I mean, he was one of the top reps, and now he's also just been recently promoted to a regional sales director for the endourology division here at Coloplast. So he's achieving, and now he's leading and serving others as well. So I think, this is the part where I think, we get the chance to carry forward some of the things that you've given us. And at the end of the day, the best way to keep something is to give it away. And, we had the opportunity to kind of bring some of the different processes and things that we learned to a new arena. And again, but it helped with good leadership, good development, good mentoringship as well from you and some of our other leaders. So it's been a great ride. And, it's been very exciting to learn a new business and come in and really try to execute on some of the fundamentals. Just, be good at what you do, treat people right, and try to do the right thing for the right reasons. And the rest kind of takes care of itself.
So Lou, if we were to, this first conversation we're having, first of probably many on leadership,
No,
talk a little bit about the essential fundamentals. I mean, what were some of the main lessons that you learned, not only in life, but in business that you've taken forward that you think are an everyday thing, not a sometimes thing?
Well, if we're going to talk anything leadership, the first and I think the most important thing to talk about leadership is serving. Okay. You cannot lead if you're not willing to serve. And I think that for a high performing, especially when people make that transition from an individual contributor to a people leader, I think that's a mental change that has to be solid. If that person who wants to lead other people does not genuinely want to help identify and meet their needs and make it not about you anymore, It's not about Lou anymore when it's on my team. It's about all the people that make up my team. It's about helping them reach their goals. It's about making sure that they have the skills, the development opportunities to strive to reach their goals personally and professionally. I can't make it about me. I think when it's about me, I think we can only grow so far. I think we can only, yes, we may be able to hit certain numbers, we might be able to get certain performance, but you know what? That's going to be not sustainable for the long term. So anytime we talk leadership, I want to talk about service and servant leadership, doing it for others, not about the glory for the leader. And you did a great job about that. You never was were the one to say, all right, guys, my number is in the, really low. I need my number. I need to help my number. No, you were like, how can I help you hit your number? How can I help you develop? And when I look at that broke down to me doing things differently, I think, because I had that experience with like a leader like yourself and other leaders that were not necessarily about themselves. So again, service. And again, I also think that allows me to provide the right amount of grit, but also the right amount of grace.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think when we talk
those are
leader,
two interesting words. You said grit and grace.
Grit and grace. Yeah. And I think with having that mindset, we have to push enough and have high expectations. And in my team, we talk about, do you want to be good, great, excellent, or elite? And if you want to be elite, the expectations and the coaching will be different. And, there's enough grit there to hold people accountable, to push them, to stretch them. But I also think we have to provide enough grace to people to meet people where they're at. And when we have people on our team, I look at three things that I do. I do talent acquisition. I want to find the best talent. I want to find the best talent available for an open position, or talent acquisition on what assignment, what project can someone's talents and gifts be executed at a high level, right? So talent acquisition, then the favorite thing is talent development. How can I pour into that person to make them better by coaching, by one-on-ones, by watching, listening, learning? I think if you want to develop somebody, you want to find three things. You want to find out who their hero is, what their highlight, what's the best thing they've done in their career, and what their hardship. If you can find those three things out, you can work with that and develop them. The third thing is culture development, Jeff. I think we've got to have the right culture. So you got to have an accountability. You have to have ownership. You have to have service, right? You have to have helping, togetherness. All those types of things will lead to performance. It's not putting performance first. It's not putting that before the people. It's not putting that before the development. It's not putting that before the culture development. Performance comes last. But we have to make sure we get the right people, we develop the people, and we have the people surrounded in an environment that's a culture that would allow them to thrive and also bring themselves to work every day. And that's important.
I agree. And I think you hit culture, and that's one of the things that I'm most proud about with the company I own now, College Hunks Hauling Junk and Moving. We've got 4 core values, and the one that I focus on the most is building leaders. And part of the conversations I have with people is it doesn't matter where you were, it's where you want to go. It doesn't matter where you feel you are today, it's where you want to be tomorrow. And anybody's capable. And I think you're a living example of that. And that's why I really enjoyed telling your story, because you've been very modest so far. You're an incredible human being. I've often called you Superman. Lou would go in and would call on clients, and he would interject humor and knowledge. And one of my favorite things that I would hear you say is, I'm getting married. My wife wants throw pillows. You remember that?
Well, I'll tell you a side story on that. At that time, my wife, she was a flight attendant, and she was working for Delta. This was before she got back into her background of being a therapist at Shepherd Center. But at that time, she was a flight attendant. So a nice, warm, welcoming bed was, for her to sleep in her own bed was something that, after being in, we're talking, these are not Delta, but also ASA connections. I'm probably putting it way back in the day, but we're talking like little small towns where they're not the best hotels. So for her to be able to come home and have a bed that was very inviting and warm and comfortable, required a lot of throw pillows and things that us guys, we never really need. But I was like, I'm gonna get my baby some throw pillows, and we ended up doing that. And the funny thing about that, those throw pillows are still in this house. So now they've made it to a guest room. So it's like the in-law suite now, but those throw pillows are still in existence. And I'm going to shout her out, Carol Flynn's in Macon, Georgia. I don't know if she's still there, but
She probably is.
yeah, I know those pillows weren't cheap, but it was more of not just for what it looked like, but it was to, get it for my wife at the time. So
At the moment in time, though, it was a sense of accomplishment, and we'd be going through sales reports and trying to work on selling skills and all that. And another thing that I said to you that I've said a lot in my career is be careful not to hook your caboose to the wrong engine. So as you're now the engine, you're now the lead. I mean, what are the things that you feel? I know that one of your famous phrases is "What can Brown do for you?" Being Lou Brown, what can Brown do for you? In your position, your role as leader now, I can't imagine anybody thinking I don't need to hook my caboose to Lou Brown. What do you think in your day-to-day operations makes people want to be on Lou Brown's team? What would people say?
I think people would say, I want to be with somebody, iron sharpens iron. I want to be with somebody that lifts me up, that's positive, that encourages me. I don't want somebody to come to me and feel like I'm taking energy away from them. I want people to come to me because I want to pour into them. I want to pour into their families. I want to pour into their development. I want them to be successful. I want people to be better than me. If you've got my old territory, I want, you to be more successful than me. If you take a certain account, yes, drive it to a different level. And the thing is, because the ego is not there, and we know pride and false ego are the downfall of men, right? Once you start getting prideful, once you start getting an ego, you know what? You got a way of getting knocked down. So I always want to make it not about being me, but being better. And let me give you some of the things that other great leaders have given me. So I think I still say that, be careful who you hook your caboose to. And I think in my company now, I've been so blessed, Jeff, so blessed to have multiple leaders from cross-functional teams that have allowed me to hook to them, from a development standpoint, to learn, to take a difference from pharmaceuticals to med device, especially surgical. It's completely different worlds, but I've had enough leaders in this organization and also cross-functional mentors, whether they're from business development, mergers and acquisitions, our sales, our R&D, our marketing, national accounts, people to really take the time to explain things and nurture me personally. So I say hook yourself to somebody that be willing to give. Just don't hook yourself to somebody that you want to see what you can get from them, if that makes sense. Yeah. And be intentional with that.
So I absolutely agree with complete intentionality. You need to really think through where you are and where you want to be, and then have a plan. I told somebody the other day, I handed them a book to read, but I'm a little more transparent now than I used to be. And I handle the book to read and say, you do understand this is a test. Back in the day, I never said that. They'd come to me and, hey, I want a promotion. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, let's put first things first. Take this book and read it and tell me what you think about it. I only did that because people did it to me. The test is, are you willing to put in the work to get to where you want to go? And if you're not willing to sit down and read a book and then come back to somebody that asks you to do it and have a real discussion around it, then you're not willing to put in the grind necessary to be good at what you're trying to get to.
Yeah. And that, Jeff, that's number 2 on my list. Talent acquisition is number 1, but then talent development. A lot of things, again, not really any ego here. There's a lot of smart people out there that have written books on things that I had no clue on. And you know what? There's a lot of great information in some books. So whether it's a course, whether it's a class or a book or a podcast now, you can find a lot of podcasts or things on LinkedIn. I always like to hire somebody, and I just had this discussion with one of our leaders this week, but hire people not for the job, but for maybe their potential for a job above them. So whoever I hire or recommend, I don't look at hiring representatives. I look at hiring future sales directors and marketing managers. I don't look at looking at just somebody for that job. And the term is called ladder up. I want them to be ready to climb at least one level up immediately, and then just learn that job that they're assigned to now, become really good at what they do, but again, put development and pour into themselves, into their craft, so they can be better. And I think that's fair.
Well, we talked about, I'm sure you remember back in the days you're working with me. By the way, do you remember what people used to call my little sayings or my little anecdotes I would throw at you guys?
I do, and I think I hope the internet doesn't take this yet, but the Mossisms were those things, and you would always have a saying for something. One of my favorite was, man, I'm fuller than a tick on a fat dog, you know, and or a
You're
fat lazy
almost
dog,
right.
you know, a
I
fat lazy
stole
dog. Yeah,
that. I stole that off my cousin. He would say I'm full as a tick with his own dog. But
okay,
that's, yeah, you were
yeah,
close. But
or his
I'm
own
amazed
lazy
you.
dog. Wasn't it lazy dog? I thought it was a
No,
lazy dog.
no, I'm full as a tick with his own dog. So
Okay, yeah.
there's a selfish tick. But so in closing, Lou, I think today, I mean, this was really a good introductory. This is I've blogged a lot about Leadership 101. And as I told you, I'm not looking to make a living doing this. I'm looking to help others. And to me, the fundamental excitement of a real leader is when, well, I'll put it to you this way. Any parent that doesn't want to see their children outperform them in every facet of life is not a good parent in my book. Every parent should want their kids to have a better life. They should want their children to find their faith, find out who they are, and then outperform them. I'm very blessed that my son has certainly done that in regards to my life. On the other hand, though, if you look at all of your employees and have that same feeling about them as you do your own children, and that I want to help you develop because one day I might like to be working for you. I want to see you develop because I want to go forward. I mean, there's been so many people in my life, from John Strange, Skip Clarkson, Russ Patterson. I could go down a litany and still leave people out. But the other part of it is I've had direct reports like you that have brought so much value to my life, but better, you've outperformed me, man. I'm so proud of you, proud of where you are. Like, here come the emotions of the dad.
Oh, come on, Jeff. All right.
I'm proud of you. I mean, my day is exuberant when I see people that have been in my world and just excelled. Because I got to tell you, it's not bad to get blamed for that in some degree. I didn't totally do it, but to have any part of helping you be successful, Lou, and to be blamed for that is not a bad thing.
Well, Jeff, I will tell you, it was a blessing to have our paths, you know, not even just cross. Our paths are still intertwined and we're still together. But I think people need leaders in different seasons of their life too.
Yeah.
And you need different leaders in different seasons of your life. And I tell you, when the seed is only as good as the soil. And I landed in some good soil when I landed under your watch. And, you know, so thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your service for me, and, you know, just caring enough about me too. And again, we'll probably have more, but, you know, it wasn't always rainbows and butterflies and puppy dogs and ice cream either. So,
No.
you know, accountability and other things, you know, and ownership, and all right, you did this, but what else can you do? And
I think that's a great subject for another call, because somebody that cares about their direct reports like they would their own children, sometimes, you know, you have to get up in their business a little bit and challenge them, you know, and hold them accountable, like you just said. But the one lesson a manager named Dwayne Wright taught me, he said, never mix a personal and business bucket, and vice versa. Don't take business feedback personally, and don't take personal feedback as business. So, Lou, we're going to wrap it up for today. I definitely want to get you back on this call at another time. I just want to tell you, I hope you continue to have all the blessings come your way. Bless your family, and may God bestow upon you incredible people in your life.
Oh, well, Jeff, he already has with you. And again, I'm very thankful for this opportunity and just getting to connect a little bit, and look forward to having some future discussions.
We'll do it.
God bless you.
So,
God bless you, Jeff.
for Leadership 101, I'm Jeff Moss. Have a great day.